we're
He
going
says not
live.
having chat open. I'm still fixing it.
Oh, I'm actually really amazed by how good the wallpaper looks. I took that myself. I'm so proud.
You have a wallpaper?
You should be proud. It's very good
Why
work.
did nobody tell me?
Oh,
Oh, hey!
Of
I was.
course.
I recognize that
Hey,
place. I've
Timon
been
in the
there.
Twitch chat there already. Let me grab the chat here as well. But
Thank
yeah, good that you're watching to the video on demand of our Horizon review discussion that we kind of like to do for the bigger games that we as the whole team got to play as well. You could of course already see my review with 30 minutes, everything, like my feelings about it. But Joyce and Dennis have also been playing. Joyce, of course, creates videos here on the channel. You heard her in a recent Odin Power video on the main channel. Dennis, of course, did some recent Dying Light videos as well. So we're kind of hard at work on all our tips and tricks for Horizon, but still wanted to answer a lot of questions that people could send in. To kind of share more details about the game. Why we're doing it like that with the sending questions is because of spoilers. There are already some things out there, and we really got lucky enough to go into this game without knowing anything. Of course, we have to say one thing at the top. Joyce was an intern at Guerrilla, so hey, you knew already some things. But Dennis and I, we were going in blind, and that was really the best way to experience the game. So that's how we kind of want it for you as well. And yeah, you could just go in completely blind, not watch anything. But if you do choose to kind of hear our thoughts about it, we wanted to give you less spoilers as possible. We will not be talking about the story at all. We will just be answering some, I think, mostly gameplay questions. First is Horizon Zero Dawn. How does that change? One question I saw, for example, on Twitter, which I want to start with immediately. Can you change the time of day? Yes, finally at a shelter.
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
you can.
And I think it's also interesting because you, Dennis, kind of blazed through the story. You did the main path and kind of hear about your experience. So want to give it a little bit to you guys. I still have to tweet out that we're live as well, so I'm gonna do that. Dennis, why don't you start with your experience and your kind of overall view of the game, and then Joyce, you can share yours.
Yeah, sure. So, a little PSA. So, like you said, what I did was blaze through the main story. I literally did nothing else. Don't do that. As much as I ended up enjoying the game, because I absolutely loved it, you're robbing yourself of so much if you're just playing the main story. But yeah, I think I'm, and it feels really weird to say this. I think I'm one of the only people. Well, no, I'm definitely the only person in this review discussion that hasn't finished Zero Dawn. I did play it. I almost finished it, but I never got around to actually I think I only needed the 2 final missions or something. So Zero Dawn did not hook me. I liked it, but it didn't hook me. Forbidden West definitely did. And I can't quite put my finger on why it is. I think it's a combination of course, it being there's a lot of learnings that went into this, and I think that's the overall consensus of most other reviews as well. It's so clear how the feedback from Zero Dawn has improved Forbidden West in most, if not every aspect, from the way that the stash kind of removes the little annoyance of having to go out and loot, and then your inventory being full and then having to deal with that, to the way that the bow now feels with the haptic feedback of the PS5 controller, which is, of course, not something that everyone can experience yet. I'm sure it's also great on PS4, but especially on PS5, I feel like it adds a lot to all the different weapon types, because there's a lot of those now too. So yeah, from someone who wasn't hooked on Zero Dawn, this hooked me pretty much from the start, and it still hasn't let go. The only thing that was able to pull me back from it was Dying Light, and that only took a week, maybe a bit more, and now we're back into Forbidden West. So I think that says a lot about how good the game is.
Before you start, Joyce, I wanted to quickly say to everyone, thanks for being in the chat as well. So we have on YouTube, we have the members only chat to avoid spoilers. Otherwise, I'm kind of scared that people will just do spoilers there. You can still ask questions there as well. Just, yeah, if you saw something, you were like, hey, what is this about? Don't ask it. Just like some general things that might not ruin the game for other people. Okay, Joyce, I'm curious. You finally got to play it as well. What did you think?
Well, it's a little bit different for me because I have seen a lot beforehand. I already knew the main plot beforehand. Not everything.
What?
Like, I mean, as being an intern, you just a little behind the scenes. But the first day that I got in, I got everything that was the main plot about Forbidden West. I got everything because you have to work with that. You know, you have to be educated with everything before you go in, of course. So for me, it was mostly waiting until things got announced for you guys and just not saying anything. But my own experience, I absolutely love it. I got sidetracked so much. Like, there's so much to do. There are so many activities to see. Like, before we all went in, we actually kind of looked at what everyone should cover. So for Dennis, it was main story. For Jor, it was side content. For me, it was mostly activities and doing what you want or something. Like, how did we do that, Jor? How did we say that it should be?
Joyce always, and that's like a fun thing, Joyce always just find things if she just can play as she normally would. So that's kind of the tactic, and you would just focus on the question marks, because as I also said in my in my review, it's very like your typical open world game, right? Where just like in the first title, you have these icons appear, and you're like, okay, what's over here? And then you already know the moment you go there that there will be something there. And then it will either be like a ruin where you can like figure out an environmental puzzle, do the vista points. Like, you kind of more did the puzzle things. Yes. Dennis and I focus more on like the combat things, but you kind of the other things. And it's kind of wild because there are a lot of non-combat things in this game as well. So if you want to kind of a break from taking out robots or rebels, then you can totally do that as well.
There's a board game in it.
I still haven't played it.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's like
fun.
There's a game within the game that I think. Did you touch it yet, Joyce? Did you play it?
Yeah, I did. I even did some challenges. The easy ones though. Like, there are from these challenges that with it's called Strike. It's kind of, you can compare it to what Valhalla has with Orlog and Gwent a bit. The addictiveness to it, because it can be pretty addictive. But so you have like all these things around the world, like around the map. You have all these different kinds of challenges for the Strike game, and it works pretty easy. Like, you don't get overwhelmed with it. But I did try it, and it's actually really fun. And if you bought the collector's edition and the Regala edition, you actually get. I think you get the real life pieces. I think that was one of the parts that you get. But you should try it, Jor. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I still like, if there's like a legendary weapon behind after it, I will totally.
No, it's not. There's not.
No, is that already? If you complete everyone.
It's called the Machine Striker. It just fires board pieces.
No, I think. If I remember, I think they're mostly, you get strike pieces, because every strike piece has a certain kind of perk. Some don't. And it's just really fun to just, like, if you go around, and you can even collect strike pieces when you go to can we already say that, to the hunter? God, what's it called again? The hunter? Yeah, not the hunter's lodge. The hunting
grounds.
The arena.
Hunting grounds. No, the hunting grounds. There are stores over there where you can buy pieces if you would like that. If you want to add them to the thing. But to summarize it quickly, to move on to the questions for me. It's just, you get. I love the world. I have spent a lot of time in photo mode already. I don't know if you guys have already seen my Twitter, but guys, I want to thank everyone who liked that post and who started to follow me because of that, because holy moly, I didn't expect that.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, it's insane. Also, girls who are watching, hi. Love you. But yeah, for me, it was at the beginning it was weird because I played some parts in concept form. So for me it was just going in there and see the final form of some things was really incredible, but also a little bit weird. But then moving further in, finding things that I didn't know beforehand were really fun. So overall, I'm really I love to see it, and I want to do more stuff in the arena because that's one of the things I didn't touch yet, and you guys did.
Yeah, I still need to do the final challenge because it's kind of tough. So how the arena works is that you unlock it after a main mission. You still have to do a side mission. We will have a video up when it's like when we're able to, talking a bit about how you can access it, because you can get already some really powerful weapons there. But how it works, because I was always like, in the first game, we were kind of creating our own arena challenges. I had like people sending me their Thunderjaw kills in like 10 seconds, and then was like, oh my god, and how did you get that? But in Horizon Zero Dawn, it was like, really, this is the way to do it, and there was no other way to really do it. And in Forbidden West, you have way more ways, and with Dennis now kind of, we also have a video on the skills, kind of toying around with all the skills and seeing the different weapon skills you mostly have.
Yeah.
It really shows that there's a
That
lot.
specifically, the weapon skills, some of them are actually crazy. I like them
Yeah.
so much. I think that's one of my biggest compliments for the game, especially comparing it to Zero Dawn, is how much more varied combat is. Not only because of how many more options you have, as like you have weapon abilities now. You have so many different types of weapons now. Melee, of course, has been expanded, but also because I feel like, and like, correct me if I'm wrong, I still consider you very much the master in this game, Yor. But there are so many more ways of taking down a machine as well. Like, there is no guaranteed you press this button to win strategy. Like that clip I sent earlier today was like, I didn't know that could happen, but if you throw one of those explosive spears onto something, it can actually blow up, but also blow up another machine's part. So that's something you can use in combat, which is just
The
crazy.
shell snapper is like a perfect example. You used it against the Tremor Tusk, right? Though.
I used the spike thrower skill against the Tremor Tusk, which was the clip I sent you, but I also posted another one against the shell snapper where I stuck the explosive spear on its back. And then it walked next to a bellow back and blew up the flame sack of the bellow back, which then ignited everything. So there was like a chain reaction going on there.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, it was more luck than skill. But still, the fact that something like that can happen makes you approach combat more with a feeling of, all right, what fun stuff are we going to do today? Instead of, all right, I need to do this, and this to immediately defeat this machine. Because you have so many options available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And it's cool that you get to kind of try that in the arena with that, because there are like leaderboards. And yeah, that will be really fun, but you get like a set loadout. So you're kind of forced to maybe play with weapons that you haven't tried before. And I really dig that. And I really had like a good build. So then not being able to use these weapons and that combination, I was like, okay, how am I using this bolt blaster that you have to reload, which like more like a Monster Hunter style weapon in a way, and I never really liked them in that game. So how are you applying that to Horizon? I kind of like that change. And yeah, there are way more weapons. They also added a lot of weapons in the Frozen Wilds DLC, but those did not really, those were just not as powerful as the other weapons. But I do feel that if you really learn the other weapons, that might be a bit harder than shooting a bow. You will get a lot of cool stuff out of it. Although it will cost a bit more resources. But in the arena, that doesn't matter, right, Dennis? You can just...
Yeah, at least I need to check out how it works completely. There are still some things we're uncertain about, but pretty much you go into the arena with like everything you currently have. So if you have full ammo, full health, full everything, you go into the arena with that. But if you didn't use it in the arena, you don't lose it. So you can just feel free to like spam your best weapons or abilities if you want to, because you get that ammo back when you go to either the next challenge or you leave the arena.
Yeah.
So that's also another great thing, I think, because it definitely, some of the challenges require for a bit more experimentation. Because you're always on a timer. Like, you can still complete a challenge, but you have to beat it within a certain time in order to get the medals, which you want to buy that awesome gear you mentioned earlier. So it's really nice and liberating that because you already have a time restraint, ammo and resources aren't really a problem. Provided that you, of course, came in properly prepared and have everything stocked up when you go in. So, pro tip, do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the arena is just amazing. I also think it's really cool that you encounter some of the machines in a more enclosed space, because tremor tusks are scary. I mean, you guys already knew that from the first gameplay, but tremor tusks are scary. They're slightly less scary when you find them out in the open, because you can use the environment against them or run away. But in the arena, it's just a big circle with a couple of obstacles. You and a giant angry robo elephant that can fire pretty much
I think the
anything
Slitherfang in the arena is actually because
already as well.
Yeah.
It's so quick.
and it can like cover a lot of ground, so it's like kind of hard to know where you have to stand. And that's like the overall one of the craziest things about this game is that we see that in action here right now as well, that they really like took a lot of machines from the first game already, made some tweaks to them in terms of parts, and also added like a different variant, not corruption, but another variant that you can like figure out for yourself, next to the huge amount of new machines. Like even the burrowers, they might look like the watchers, but they completely, they behave different. They can like crawl under the ground and stuff like that, or dig, and it's kind of crazy. It's a lot of fun to learn all these new machines.
And there are so many more to find out, but you'll find out when it releases. Because right now I'm not gonna spoil.
Really cool ones that I think you don't know about, and also don't try to find out, because it's nice to keep the surprise for yourself. But
for sure.
We were really surprised. I remember like in the first or second day of playing was like, how many are there? How many new ones did they add?
You know what was funny? For me, seeing you guys explore, and I didn't tell you guys beforehand what was in there, and then seeing your reactions to things I already knew, it was so satisfying and so fun to see. Like, it's awesome, and it actually, I can't believe I can finally talk about it. Like, it also kind of, I don't know how you say it. Lucht op. Relieved that I can finally say. I still, because we're doing a spoiler-free review, still have to like keep it to a certain boundary. But it's fun to see the reaction when you already knew beforehand what was going to happen. So it was really
weird experience. It must have been.
Yes, and even I don't know. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. Before we're going into questions. Seeing my name in the credits is really a thing that I didn't think would happen, but I'm in there.
I know.
I can say I worked on the game. I worked on the game.
Yeah, and you're like close to Mark Cerny as well, right?
Yeah.
It's like what?
Like you guys, awesome. If you guys pay attention, it's a little JorRaptor Easter egg, if you will.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Let's move on to questions.
And I wanted to go to the chat immediately because those people are, of course, watching here. How's the graphics quality and performance mode on PS5? People are excited, of course. It's going to be the longest week ever, says Jonathan. Thanks for asking it again. Is there a New Game Plus? We can easily answer that. No, not yet.
Not as of yet.
I would be shocked if they didn't add that later on. Ben. Ben is now reacting to that. Nice. So.
Thanks, Ben.
I would argue, because I tried it out, both the performance mode and the favor resolution mode, which is the same as on PS4 Pro for the original, only this time performance really enhances the frame rate, while on PS4 Pro with the previous game, it was more just, a more stable frame rate, I guess, but it was already kind of stable. But I personally, if you really look at it, you're like, okay, sure, it looks better in favor resolution mode, especially Aloy's character and the outfits. If you really like, it totally looks better. But the moment, because the game for me started on favor resolution, I immediately switched it because it's a game changer, especially if you already played a bit on performance mode. Going back to resolution, for me, it wasn't possible anymore. It was like I'm playing on slow motion. Without like pulling up the weapon wheel. No, I would argue it's not worth the smaller increases you're seeing. And we're talking again here about the PS5 version that has a 60 FPS mode and a higher fidelity mode. And I'm personally just excited for the PS5 Pro, where we can have both at the same time.
PS5 Pro.
It's gonna happen
I
one
do
day.
agree. Like,
But,
as soon as you get the 60 FPS, there's no
Play
going back from
performance
that.
mode. It's
Yeah.
like wild.
Yeah.
It's not worth the small increase in resolution. And I'm sure that Digital Foundry, I haven't watched their video yet, but they totally have like a video about that up, I would say.
Yeah.
That's right, they did. I saw it on Twitter popping up somewhere, so they did do a video about that. But you didn't try photo mode by any chance to see if the quality also goes up? Because I didn't do that actually. I didn't try.
That might actually be a smart thing to do, because then photo mode is it doesn't really matter the higher frame rate there, if there is any.
I mean, you can zoom in. I mean, I can
I
already
think
say
it might
have to
totally it might totally.
yeah. I mean, I can already say in performance mode you can really see the detail already. So I don't know how much improvement it would be if you go to the 4K version.
It's
but
already
I-
amazing looking. So
Yeah,
I would
exactly.
just say do performance modes.
Yes.
I think you want to answer the question from Tom, Joyce, that in the YouTube
Are you
chat?
able to say what you did to help make the game, or would that be a spoiler, Joyce? I'm gonna keep this one. You know, it's tiny things. Like, it's mostly behind the scenes things that I helped work on. Like, you guys don't even know this. Like,
If you can't say it, of course, don't say it. But
I mean, I'm gonna keep it just to be. Yeah, I don't say that. Sure, that's nothing that like is really spoilery, but you guys already know this, that I could watch mocap happening. Like, I actually saw a recording of a side quest being like captured in mocap, which was really fun. I helped with like walking animations, which was really cool for the NPCs and some other stuff. Like, I was with the franchise and community team, FC, best team, you. I hope you guys are watching. But yeah, I did a ton of like tiny stuff. So that's why I was really surprised that to see my name in the credits, because I was like, I did so less compared to everyone else. Like, I'm so proud of everyone at Guerrilla who did. They did a wonderful job. Every team that's over there, lovely people. So I'm gonna keep it like at this to like not.
yeah, but it shows a lot, that because I know for some developers that like worked on the game and then left 1 year before launch, they sometimes are not even in the credits. So them putting you in is like amazing.
Yeah, but mostly the part that I was because it was a video editing studying intern thing for people who are interested. So I mostly did like editing videos internally. So it was mostly for inside the company.
For
And
the
I'm not going
future
into,
of Guerrilla.
I'm not going into detail
Cool.
because of well, I mean it's NDA stuff, of course, but also it's
Okay.
being loyal to the company.
Let's
But it was fun.
good to hear. And it was before COVID, so you could actually go there.
Yeah, holy moly. It's already been a while. It was 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
Super weird.
Before everything went.
Yeah.
Okay, we have some questions here. Let's start with
Go ahead.
Yeah, who are you gonna start with?
So we asked you to leave questions in our dedicated Discord channel and also on YouTube under my review. Maybe some people were like just asking questions under the YouTube review. Maybe not even knowing that they would be here in the stream, but we thought, hey, if people are curious about it, let's talk about it here. Again, if you are in one of the chats, you can talk about it as well. We have the member-only chat because I'm afraid that someone might spoil anything, so we're kind of doing it like that. I want to start with just an easy one, and I want to throw that to you, Dennis. Can you unlock all the abilities in the game? And this from D, Will Game, and Mick over on YouTube.
One thing I want to add is it asks at max level, and I don't think you can at max level necessarily, but one very important thing to note is you get a lot of skill points, and like I mean a lot of skill points from side quests. So I do imagine, I personally haven't done it yet, but looking at how much I still have left to do, and how many skills I already have unlocked, I imagine that yes, it's very possible to unlock every skill in the tree if you complete enough content. You are pretty much like either being from leveling up or from completing quests, you have a pretty constant influx of skill points that you can use. So yeah, I do think, like, I'm not 100% sure, I do think you can unlock all the abilities. If you, I don't know if you get enough from leveling, but then again, you're leveling also by doing side quests. So if you just play the game enough, you should eventually be able to reach that point.
Yeah. That was like the first time you see the skill tree, like, how am I even
Yeah.
going to do this? But I think
So
you get even 2 skill points for leveling up, which is already more than 1, which you might expect. And yeah, it's really about the side quests. You really want to make sure you do the side content. It showers you in skill points, and that was kind of one of the parts of my review as well, where at one point, and that's kind of like I think it's the kind of the balance, because you want everyone to have all the skills, because I do imagine that it would suck to completely replay the game. We're seeing that, for example, with Dying Light 2, not with the skills, but with other systems or weapons you cannot get in one playthrough anymore because you chose to go a certain direction. And in Horizon, it's really about how do you want to, what is your playstyle? And then at one point you likely unlocked all the skills that are nice for that playstyle, and then you're like, okay, let's try this as well. And that's why I think the skill tree kind of falls flat, in my opinion, because I unlocked everything that I thought would be needed, and then you're looking at the other skills. I would just run around with 35 skill points, because I was like, yeah, I'm not really feeling the Trapper skill line, but that's the only sort of skill line I'm still kind of going to that I can still invest in. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But you can unlock everything. I almost have everything. I'm like 49 and a little more. It's like level 50 is the max again. And
hardcore.
I hope they're like ghost levels again, because that I hope that I can still earn XP after the fact, but I'm not sure if that's possible. But you can still earn skill points.
I don't even think. Do you think 50 is the max?
There's a trophy for it, so I think that's the max.
I would assume so. Yeah.
Yeah, because indeed. Like, I know that there's indeed a trophy for that. That's right. Now, you can of course upgrade your Valor Surges. You can upgrade those to a certain extra powerful level, which you also need skill points for, and they also go up from 3 to 5. So eventually you can like invest in that if you are interested in those. But yeah, I do agree that you get showered in skill points, especially if you go all the side content. Some even give you, like, the side quests give you done, and then I think even when you leveled, and the higher level you go, the more skill points you get. I think that's also.
I think it feels like that, but I think you always get 2, but I might be mistaken. No, more.
You later get 3.
Oh, okay.
I need to go back through footage during the review.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm
going from 20
sure
to another number was for me. Whatever, but
yeah, but I do agree. You get showered with them, so you don't have to worry about.
It's only like an issue early on, because then you're still like, okay, I want this, and I still need to kind of work towards that. But at one point, you will have everything. It will be fine.
Yeah.
What I do think is nice is that you have less of a problem that Zero Dawn had, where there are certain skills that are like very useful, almost like mandatory, that you don't have to wait for unlocking them, because there were a lot less active skills in the tree. But then again, like you said, that's also kind of a downside, because at one point it's like, all right, these are passive upgrades to a playstyle that I don't really use. Like Trapper is a very good example of that. I don't like using traps because it means you have to wait, and I don't have patience. So then it's like, oh, you can place traps quicker. Sure, that's nice if you like using those, but I don't. So what am I going to put my skill points in? And
not sure if you already saw my footage, Joyce. I can pull it up here.
This one, because you've sent me so much.
Yeah, I know the skill. I can pull it up, but it's about the traps. But where I'm also like, I still need to play more with it, but for at this point, it's like not satisfying at all. I can like pull it up.
The one you shared in Slack today?
No, this one. So here I'm putting down, because I got the Karja outfit.
I see, yeah.
And I'm putting down traps. Yeah, here he comes.
Here he comes.
I'm like, I'm ready for you, mate. Come here. And then he's like,
Oh, you can now do A because of the outfit. Yeah, that's right.
come here.
It's not coming, isn't it?
No, it is. And he's like, yo, do it. And it's gone. So,
Come on.
waste. Yeah, that's...
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
Oh,
all my
Listen.
traps wasted. So that's why I'm kind of
tried-
like, I don't like traps. They're...
Rip.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually pretty funny. Can I share that also? No.
I mean, we will show it in the video. So
That's awesome. No, I didn't see that one there, but that was cool. That was the cool and disappointing though.
yeah. Hey,
Because
TD
Trump-
Voice, good to see you. Thanks for the
Hello.
sub there.
Hey. So which question
Yeah,
will
moving
we
on.
go to next?
Do we want to keep picking from the doc, or do we want to get one more from chat? Because there are some.
Yeah,
ones in
do
chat as
do
well.
from chat. Let's kind of do YouTube, chat, Discord,
so many.
YouTube chat, Discord.
Yeah,
like that.
sure. So an interesting one from Anish asking, is there a new stamina bar during combat? Does that make the combat even more intense? So yes, there is a sort of stamina bar for combat, but it's not what you think it is. Like, you can still dodge pretty much infinitely. The stamina bar is for weapon skills, which are awesome. Like, we already talked about them a bit. And so you unlock these through the skill tree. And then you basically, there's 3 for each weapon type. And you can swap from them in the weapon wheel, so you don't have to select one. You can just hold L1, and I think it's right and left on the D-pad, right? To switch between them when you have a specific weapon selected. And you use stamina for those, depending on the ability. It takes a bit more or a bit less. And it does recharge over time. But I'm pretty sure that it decreases when you get hit. So it does add a little bit of intensity to combat, because you don't want to get hit because you'll lose stamina. And it does allow you to pull off some really powerful moves. Like, I think we're already discovering some of them are definitely more useful than others. But overall, it does add a new, pretty cool dynamic to combat, and some really cool new things you can do with weapons. Some of which we've already discovered are pretty powerful.
Yeah,
They
I can't wait to talk more in depth about them. But yeah, it's not like what I always liked in Horizon is how you can be super reactive, but it's not like your character gets like, I can't do it anymore, and then you will just
Well, you know what I
get
find-
slapped by it on the jaw.
Yeah, you know what I find really funny? This is actually a tiny detail that happens, like when you heal, or when Aloy heals, or because you have the create job system again. To quickly just jump over. This is about the tiny reactions Aloy says when something happens. Also during a fight, like when she's low health, like really low health, and then you use the heal button to heal, and she's like, "Oh, that feels better." I really love those tiny details, like that she actually reacts on something that happens, because it gives it more feel to her during these combat, even though like the combat can be quite challenging sometimes, even with Tremortusk, because they can be quite
they're super, especially the rebel ones, and and not removing their weapons is not a smart tactic. You should totally do that. What is interesting though, that is like a small thing, but I'm not sure if they did it for the speedrun sort of community, or like actually against it, because normally you could roll like infinitely, but if you now roll a few times, you'll actually stumble. So I think it reduces movement speed.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
That was actually a tip I saw. That I was like, huh? And I watched like a speedrun. There's like one prominent Horizon speedrunner, and watching his stream is like roll. So I'm curious if that was because of that. But it never felt like, and I'm sliding way more as well, but it never felt like Aloy is not doing what you want because she's tired or something. So it's still very reactive, which is is kind of cool. And the gameplay is just better, and mostly because of the customization, like what we're figuring out now. Like I wished and maybe it's because I'm still playing on normal. I wanted to play through the game on normal first, and then like get a cool build, and then try that on because very hard or ultra hard is not there yet, but I do think that very hard is already in the game. So I still think you have story, easy, normal, hard.
Hard and then very hard.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm waiting for ultra hard where you do not see the health bars yet. Although I did not try very hard yet. So, but in Zero Dawn it did not. It still had the health bars. But yeah, so maybe then I will really need to use more of the environment, because I don't know what about you guys, but there are like you kind of see what the idea behind some of the areas are. Like there are like these pillars where you can like grab a hook onto, and then of course we saw that a lot in the gameplay already, where Aloy was like using the glider a lot and the grappling hook. But during combat I could like use my Zero Dawn tactics most of the times and still be kind of fine. Again, maybe on a higher difficulty I really have to use those things. But what about you guys? Did you really like use the new tools they gave to you during the combat?
A bit. But usually, like you obviously are talking about like when you use the glider and jump up with your I completely forgot the name that you could
Polecaster.
Yes, thank you. The polecaster to jump up and then use your bow from high above. I sometimes did it to try out weapons, because some perks from those weapons have that you can actually have more that the machines take more damage if you shoot from high above. So I sometimes try it, but I have to be honest, I didn't really use it often. Like sometimes I wanted to try out new tactics, or I really wanted to run away, because sometimes you don't have enough health anymore. You don't have enough medicinal stuff anymore or potions, and you really need to get out of here. You just want to glide away, like from a high point. But yeah, I do. Maybe it's because it's a new thing. Like, you're so used to the Horizon Zero Dawn style, and then you have all these new movements or new tactics to try out to eventually get another combat experience. So yeah, I think that's the Now that you mention it, I'm like, did I try that out? Not that often. No,
not in combat. No, for sure. Like I know we said we're gonna do YouTube chat and then Discord, but there's a question that actually kind of hooks into this topic from Colin. Thank you for the donation, by the way. That's really appreciated. Asking advanced movement mechanics, grapple into glide. So yes, you can do that, which is very cool. But it's mostly, I'd say, useful for traversal and not so much combat. I had the same thing as you, Yoro. I was like, well, I didn't have my Zero Dawn tactics because I played Zero Dawn like a madman without any tactics. But I realized there were these posts where I could grapple onto, but I rarely ever used them. They can make for some pretty cool like stealth encounters where you kind of use that to swing off and then fly with your ring glider over top of a machine and then drop on top of them and silent strike them, because you can do that. That is pretty cool. But apart from that, I didn't really feel the need to use it. Even in terms of mobility. But yeah, when you're traversing the world, especially the shield wing, it's great.
Yeah, for sure. There's also a trophy that you need 60 seconds with the shield wing. I was like, okay, let's look for the highest point in the map.
I got that one by accident.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna keep this as vague as possible, but there's a side quest that starts from that eventually ends from a high point. So you have to go from point A to point B, basically. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna glide down there, and it's pretty high up. It's actually a nice view, and then suddenly the trophy pops up. I'm like, oh, okay.
Whoa, nice.
I had the same thing.
You have to share that spot. Yes,
I should think about, did I record that? That's actually, I need to think about that. I think I recorded it, but not sure. But it was like, oh, okay.
Nice. I'll take it. JorRaptor, thanks for JorRaptor member. Appreciate it.
Thank you. What else is there with the questions? I'll open one from the doc if you guys don't.
Yeah,
mind.
That's good. Yeah. Do the Discord one.
Someone from
The Discord ones? So, let's see. We got one from, let's start with Gutao. How big is the map in Horizon Forbidden West? Gorilla said it's slightly bigger than Horizon Zero Dawn. Is that statement accurate? Well, what do you think?
Yeah, it's way bigger.
Yeah.
At least it feels that way. But it doesn't feel like it's not Valhalla big, where it's like Maybe
No,
it's a
for
little too
sure.
big. um,
Is it?
and I, because like I'm like 60 hours in now, something like that. I know the map already a lot, and I kind of like that a lot as well. But there are still like a lot of secrets and stuff that I have to discover. But I would argue that I personally thought that they were kind of like, yeah, it's gonna be slightly bigger than Horizon. I was like, yeah, I think it's gonna be way bigger, but they're kind of like hesitant to say that because when Dying Light said they had 500 hours, everyone's like, I got no time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah. So no, I'm not sure. I personally think that the map size is great and there's a lot of content. And what we already kind of touched on a little earlier is how every sort of question mark it was put there with a reason, and there were like multiple eyes on it to make sure it feels diverse enough and interesting enough. I only think the rebel camps, and that's maybe because like what you already said, Dennis, mainlining the game not really smart, and I still think though that a lot of people play a game this way is that they, and in Horizon you get a lot of like crucial items during the main story that help you during the side content, but how I'm doing it right now, and that's also how the rewards are kind of set up, is that after one big activity, so you have your whole quest log and it says main, side, errands, and it goes down to all the different activities. And after you basically cleared one of those tabs, one of those activities, you mostly get, at least for as far as we found so far, a legendary weapon. So how you want to play things is you want to focus on that activity, because the more you play that, the higher chance or the faster you get that legendary weapon. But with the rebel camps, that's the only activity where I'm like, there we go again. They do try and change it up a bit with the machines that they can, of course, override. But it would have been cooler if there were multiple factions or more variety. But apart from that, I didn't really like the Cauldrons in the first game, but they're like one of my favorite parts of this game. They're so
they're
awesome.
pretty
The
good.
tall necks are like, what the heck?
Yep.
There was
The
something I
tall
always
necks,
wanted. I'm not gonna
I-
spoil it, but
I
they're
cried
tall
during
necks
one.
things. Yeah,
I got really emotional during one.
yeah,
No,
it's really
absolutely.
cool.
More, this is just because I saw concept art from it back when I was working there. Well, whatever.
They should do that. That's just like Assassin's Creed, where you sometimes see concept art in the world.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
Post concept art, gorilla, good idea.
They will totally do it after launch, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
All right, what's
Also, one thing I wanted to point out as well from the map before we move on to the next topic. Also, thank you, I Am Legend, for the gifted sub. That's super appreciated.
Woo!
But it's the fact that it also feels really big because of the diversity in locations. I feel like even
Yes.
more so than in Zero Dawn.
Yeah, way
There
more.
are so many distinct regions with like
Ta-da.
really cool landmarks, or I think like the Scolding Spear is a settlement you can visit relatively early into the game, which just has such an iconic look to it. It's immediately recognizable. You have your snowy area, your desert area, your more forest area. Like it's so diverse, and there are so many cool landmarks and just locations and vistas to discover. Like I felt myself. I said it to you as well, Joyce. Like this is the second game apart from Ghost of Tsushima where, one, because of the photo mode, but also just because of the way the game looks, where I felt like the need to just take a moment, just take it in, and maybe take a picture or something, because just how great it looks. So,
It's
and I think that
stunning.
diversity also really adds into feeling how big this world is, because you really feel like you're moving through something. Like it's not just an endless stretch of desert road. You're moving from a desert to a forest to a shoreside, and seeing a lot of different things in the world as well. So I don't know if it's like statistically bigger, but it feels a lot bigger, and I think that's also in large part due to the diversity. So yeah, and definitely agree with the fact that it doesn't feel too big. Like you can familiarize yourself with the map while there's still like a lot of things to do. So I think they hit the sweet spot with it. It's like...
and it's just cool that you're like kind of rewarded with like some areas that only open up later on in the game. So you're kind of like constantly with Zero Dawn. You could really because you would go to Meridian very early on, and from there you could really go almost anywhere. And
Yeah.
here it kind of builds up, so you kind of reward it for continuing playing to see some of the cooler levels. And yeah, I
Mhm.
just
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff. Like story locations, there's some crazy stuff going on.
for sure,
That
for sure.
we're not going to spoil, but you'll
Mhm.
see. It's amazing.
It's funny.
So I think it's on to the next question then, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Looking at, let's see, we already kind of answered that. Ludovico Lazari asked, does the rarity of weapons change based on upgrades we make to it, or is it like Zero Dawn where we simply need to buy the same version from merchants only with higher stats? So no, weapon rarity does not increase when you upgrade it. It's just an increase to the stats. There is actually kind of a lot of depth to what upgrades give you, which I think you're best left to explain that because you already did most of it.
Yeah.
It is kind of like Zero Dawn where you buy a better version from a merchant, but the one thing I will say, and correct me if I'm wrong, because this is of course maybe my lack of Zero Dawn experience speaking, there are a lot more variants that actually matter a lot as well. So like instead of just you buy a purple hunter bow instead of a blue hunter bow, you have multiple purple hunter bows and all of them have like their own sort of expertise. Like one maybe has frost arrows that you want to use to freeze machines and then deal more damage with your impact arrows. And another one has an overdraw where the other has not. So there's a lot more choice when it comes to picking like your next tier of upgrade if you're like stepping up from rare to very rare or from very rare to legendary,
Yeah,
which
for
is
sure.
cool. And then
Yeah.
the upgrades, and maybe you want to talk more about that.
Yeah. So what you said is true. Like there are way more weapons. What happened in Zero Dawn was, and I don't think it's possible here. You can only get one one weapon of the same type. So that doesn't mean like there's only one Death Rattle warrior bow. While in the first game you could buy multiple purple sharpshot bows, focus one on the terror arrows, the other on damage, and then switch between them. So that's not possible anymore, but you do now have multiple hunter bows of the purple rarity, so that's awesome. And indeed, with the different ammo types, you now have way more. If you like to, like in the first game, it was like the blast, the slingshot, and the warbow that could like apply freezing effects. But now there are way more options for that. So that's really cool. How the upgrading works is that it doesn't change rarity. You have your purple bow. You already see from the start, okay, if at the workbench, you can upgrade it. If I go to the final rank, this is what I get. I do wish you could still inspect it though, because the perks do increase, especially for armor. You can go... Armor works a bit different than weapons. Weapons have their own sort of perks and abilities and increases, and still the sort of mod slots. Armor as well, but armor can also increase the skills we just talked about, that they go beyond a certain level. And what we kind of figured out today is that the increases beyond... so, for example, there's one passive skill in the skill line and another one as well. So if you unlock the one, you get a little bonus. Unlock the second one, you have another bonus. Then if you put on an armor set with that same skill, it says, okay, you already have the two skills unlocked. Now you go to rank 3, and rank 3 is way better than rank 2. While if you only have one skill unlocked and you have the armor set, you go to rank 2 because it only gives you +1 for that skill, if that makes any sense. But it's kind of... There is way more depth to it, and the higher the skill, the better it is. But the problem is with this system that it's kind of a waste of time to upgrade blue gear or even sometimes purple gear, because there's a legendary rarity now as well.
The new legendary.
Legendary. And that's like
legendary.
that's like a better version. But so far it seems that every weapon type only has one legendary variant, at least from as far as we've seen so far. But so there will likely still be room, because we now have 6 weapons in the weapon wheel. There will likely still be room for purple weapons as well. But it costs a lot of time, and it's really cool. The upgrade loop, it's about, okay, I need this part from this machine. You create a job, you see the icon on the map, I go there, okay, for this part, I have to not shoot this very easy to hit part, because if that explodes, I cannot loot it. While if it explodes, it deals way more damage to the machine. So you're basically making the fight harder, which I really like. But it takes a long time to get it to the max level. And really, the moment you find a purple version, if you would upgrade your blue one to the max level, it's kind of like, okay, I just spent all this time upgrading this blue version. Maybe it has one tiny, like, it's a bit different and it's a bit better, but the purple one will be better in the end. So it's my tip would be, the green gear is very easily upgradable. I would totally recommend that. But then I would immediately, I would basically skip the blue rarity and just go to purple, and then eventually go to legendary. And because upgrading legendary is kind of hard, and I'm really excited to get into that end game loop there.
It's going to take a lot of resources to get that done.
Yeah, it's also maybe like the upgrading thing with green ones is mostly handy for like in the beginning, like in the early part of the game.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
You start with the shield weaver, which you can upgrade as well. So there are also some perks on there. So yeah, that's what I did at the start of it, like upgrading that, and then indeed focusing on because later on then figuring out that if you go to other parts of the game, like further in, you find rare to very rare armor sets that are, better than anything else you've gathered. So yeah, that's indeed something that's good to point out here. And yeah, the legendary gear is mostly, it's hard. Like you also need a lot of metal shards to buy it and upgrade it. That's basically also in the whole tier line. But yeah, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, it will be. It's gonna be really fun to create loadouts and actually upgrade gear. And I don't want to go too in depth on it, because there are actually even more layers with the runes, the mod slots and stuff. So that's gonna be very cool. Big H, want to thank for your support. 21 months.
Wow.
Keep up the good work. Thank
Wow.
you. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
All right, other questions.
Yeah,
Do we
let's do
have
it.
Other questions.
I think it was time to go back to chat, right? I have
Okay.
two that are kind of in the same vein. Bootsy asking, are there more new weapons that we haven't been shown from trailers and gameplay? And Peloctor asking, is the Ropecaster making another comeback, or is there going to be a new mechanic?
First, Sylvie Fox, yeah, we're getting a lot of support, so I want to immediately shout that out. But Dennis, keep going.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for your...
Those were the questions, and I think I want to pass that to both of you, because I honestly don't remember what hasn't been shown in the trailers. So I don't know if we've seen the spike thrower, which is of course new.
Yeah.
That one's
No, the ropecaster is back. So where
okay.
you shoot a rope and then make sure that the enemy stays in one spot. That was really a weapon I kind of figured out later on in the game in Zero Dawn. That I was like, okay, whoa, I got the Lodge ropecaster now. It might be handy, and for the Stormbird to keep it on the ground. It's really good. And what the big change they made to that weapon is that it now also has elemental variants. So you can, which is kind of weird, and I still need to use it more. But
yeah,
and that's kind of what I like about all the new weapons, and that's where the Frozen Wilds kind of they added a lot of gimmicky weapons, but they turn out to cost a lot of ammo and were not good at all. While I really feel that every weapon in this game, if you learn to use it and maybe got the right version and the right upgrades, that it could be very, very good. But it just takes way more time for some weapons to shine versus the Hunter Bow that from the get-go is just really good.
Yeah. I think it was really telling that, I think it was at the point where we had both finished the main story. We were talking a bit about weapons, and there was one that you absolutely loved that I hadn't used yet, and vice versa, one that I absolutely loved and used a lot throughout my playthrough that you hadn't used yet either. So that really shows that some can just really click with your playstyle and really work in your...
But you're overall also not really forced to try these weapons out,
sure.
apart from the arena where you get this loadout and it's like, hey, good luck. And I wish there was maybe more of that, but I do get that it might be hard because you don't want to force players down a path. But I think what kind of happened for me was And maybe there was a tutorial, but you know how gamers are, they kind of click through everything. But I got the Shredder Gauntlet pretty early on.
Yeah.
And I just was like, and you were like that as well, then. So you're like, it's not, I don't think it's good or anything. I'm throwing these discs and dealing some damage, but it's not a lot. And the downside of those weapons also is that it costs more money, resources to use that ammo versus a hunter bow where it just costs the
Still just sticks and shards.
Metal shards.
Yeah, sticks and shards. It's you pick it up all the time, but I'm kind of blanking on the name.
Yeah, and now you can go to infinity, or can you go to infinity with the stash?
Oh, you already want to go to the next question? Yeah, okay. You can.
Hey, I thought it was a nice.
Yeah, it's a nice bridge for sure.
It is. But yes, you can.
The question was from, just to give people. It was from Max Relax on Discord. Are the stashes infinite? If not, can you get more or increase the size? So that was a nice bridge to it, I think.
I haven't reached maybe 9,999 is the max, but I haven't reached it yet.
Max, it would have been you. Can I just say, I don't know whoever thought of the idea of the stash at Gorilla, but thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I
don't remember who did it, but thanks.
It's so good.
It's
it's
the best. It's really one of the best additions.
The base idea is that, like, for the people who aren't in the know, the base idea is that whereas in Zero Dawn you had inventory pouches for different stuff, but at some point things were just capped out. That included resources that you needed to make ammo. So if you were carrying too much, like, sticks and chill water and whatever, you couldn't carry any more. Whereas now, anything that would fill up your inventory goes over to your stash, and you can access your stash in a lot of locations, mostly either like settlements or the shelters, which we covered earlier, where you can also change the time.
Progress time.
And then you can just press one button and hold it. I think you also showed it in the review as well. You just hold one button, and it refills every resource from your stash back to your inventory. So if you use a lot of crafting materials, for making ammo, and you're kind of running out, you just visit the stash, you hold one button, and then you gather from the reserves that you build up.
Yeah.
But that's completely automatically, so you don't need to press a button. If you pick up too much wood or too much berries or whatever on your way, it gets sent to your stash, and you can access it whenever you want.
And to be fair, I never really went to the stash that often, because you can just find anything really early in the in the world. If you just look for it, like the herbs, there are skills to give you even more plants when you pick it up, so that's really nice. But what is crazy now is that when I was like, okay, let's check the I'm rich, and I have so much stuff in this bank without and that's I think the best, like one of the best parts about this game. There are always some things where you're like, there's like inconveniences with Valhalla. There's always like something that I don't know, that is just not working. We're like, oh, here we go again, or damn, I need to pay for transmog, or I need to go to the stable to change my mount. There's just nothing that really stops you from enjoying this game, and the stash is like the biggest part of that, because you're constantly gathering. It's like, go ahead, gather, grab everything, loot everything. And I kind of forgot, and I really think that if you, after Forbidden West, go back to Zero Dawn, you're constantly, bag is full. Okay, I have to change these mods. No, you never have to worry about it again. And I think it might be the best system in any open world game, because every open world game has inventory issues. When I booted up Odyssey again, you're too heavy. Oh my god. And here's like everything gets sent to the stash. Well, that game has a stash as well. It would be awesome if they implemented that as well, where you can just immediately send it there.
This is basically Jordan's dream.
Yeah, it's amazing.
He doesn't have to worry about it ever again.
The one thing I will say is that it's kind of funny when people are like panicking. It's like, oh no, there's a plague, our crops are ruined, we can't produce any more food. And you're just sitting on a stash of 999 berries, and it's like, I don't know what we're gonna do about it.
It's for the whole tribe. It's for the whole tribe.
Yeah.
Maybe they can eat one night.
and
It's
it's
not
not
enough.
only resources. You can also put your weapons in there, because you can, of course, you are able to sell green, uncommon rare weapons if you'd like, but you can also stash them in your stash. You can also store them in your stash if you
Yep.
Yep.
not want to get rid of them,
I
or
think like traps and health potions and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, a lot,
exactly.
a
Like,
lot of things.
there's
Yeah.
a lot you can put in there, but yeah, we should definitely figure out if there's a max. I don't know if there is.
I'm like at 1200 berries, so give me a
If you
few more
do,
weeks.
send us
Yeah.
send us a message.
Tom, yeah, there is a changed time of day. Dennis did indeed
Yes.
say that. There are shelters and where you have like a workbench and the stash and a campfire, and you can just sit there and change the time of day, which is glorious because that was like the thing. And recently with Far Cry, but in Horizon Zero Dawn it was like that as well. Oh, it's dark again. I have to wait for
Yeah.
20 minutes or reload my save where it was daytime. Now it's just, hey, maybe it costs a fast travel pack. I don't mind. Let's go to morning again. And then you know, okay, for the next 30 minutes at least, or maybe a little less, you can play during daytime.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yes.
that's totally the best feature ever.
Yeah.
I agree with that as well.
You can
Looking
even pick
forward to
between-
the items you
Sorry.
can get early video. I Am Legend. Yeah, looking forward to that as well. Sorry, Joyce.
No, it's fine. I just wanted to add you can even pick between morning, afternoon, and night. It's
Oh, yeah.
it's
If
very-
And
you-
evening, like you can pick pretty
Yeah.
accurately, like in jumps of like 6 hours where you want to start.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Thank you for doing that, Gorilla.
Okay. We have a very, very quick question from Fox. Selfie Fox?
Sylvie
Sylvie
Fox?
Fox.
Sylvie
Sylvie
Fox?
Hi, Sylvie.
Are there foxes?
Yes.
Yes.
You can kill
There
them
are.
again. I know you.
No,
love
you
that you
cannot pet
follow
them
it
like
up
in
with the-
Ghosts.
I mean, it's like Sylvie Fox. You need to kill foxes. Maybe you're happy to see foxes run around, but otherwise you cannot upgrade some pouches. That would suck for you.
You cannot pet them like in Ghosts.
No,
Unfortunately. I wish
you
it was.
not yet anyway. Also, kind of sticking on the subject of, I know we're going off off the plan again, but I like chaos, so that's what we're doing. But kind of, you mentioned fast travel packs, and Jonathan Crump asking, is there a golden fast travel pack? We haven't found it yet, so I assume the answer is no. But there is something even better.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell the people, Jor?
Yeah.
That you can free fast travel between campfires.
Yes. That is exactly what
I
was
don't know if
talking
that's
about.
better though. It's not better
with
because
how many of them there are,
it's not better
and
because
you can do it from the start of the game.
yeah,
find it.
it's right, but it's not like I'm like the lazy guy. If there's a campfire a few 10 meters away, I'm still using that fast travel pack. I'm not running to that campfire.
Kidding me?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So in that case,
Well,
a
in
golden
that
fast
case,
travel
it's
pack
not
is better.
No. for
But
sure.
maybe
Then
it's
again,
like a platinum reward or something. I listened to other reviews that talked about FX as well. I haven't seen anyone mention it. So how it works right now is that they are super cheap. There are 25 metal shards. You can buy them at almost every vendor. So I just make sure I always have 10 on me. Yeah, maybe just like if you would like are a fan of a certain thing, and then at one point they would be like, "Hey, in your lifetime you spent this and this on that." Maybe
I mean,
if
there are
at one point,
statistics.
can you see how many fast travel packs I bought because I don't want to know?
I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I know there is a statistics
yeah, there
thing
is a
again.
stat screen.
Yeah, of
I
course.
don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
Pretty
what is in there.
expansive. I
And
don't
then
know if
yours
the
like,
fast travel's
oh,
in there.
999 times. No, I don't know.
No, but
but
they
yeah.
are back. But yeah, I wish there was a golden fast travel pack as well. But
We should check that out if there is.
yeah, I don't
But-
think.
I didn't really
so.
think about that. No.
But if you don't mind walking 50 meters towards the campfire, I think the new system is actually great. Like, I get what you're saying. It's not a golden fast travel pack, but
No.
the feature is available from the very beginning, and it literally costs no resources. So they changed it. I like this better, but I can imagine that you like the golden fast travel pack better. But I hope that answered the question, Jordan.
Yeah, and they want you, of course, to explore the world, and I get that as well. They want you to, get attacked by machines and stuff like that. And if you like fast travel all the way, then
Sit down and enjoy the beautiful environment of the Forbidden West, Yor.
Yeah, I'm
No
still doing
patience.
that, but I also have a PS5. I want to use those fast load times, you know. So
That's actually pretty good. Yeah, I gotta admit the load times are
The
insane.
load
okay,
times are great.
Ridgewood, we got it again. I'm using footage here where we got the Ridgewood. This is all from very early on in the game.
Let's see. Do we have other questions that are?
Yeah, we can.
I think it was Discord's turn again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do multiple discords because they actually put it here,
For
hoping
sure.
that they would get the answer. So
There are so many.
Let's go
we
a
kind
bit
of
quicker then
already
as well.
Went over, yeah, for sure, because there are some we kind of already went over. So Azure Eyes ask, are there a lot of new weapons? So the answer to that is yes. Do the Tear Blaster, Stormslinger, Ice Rail, and Forge Fire come back? And the answer
Whoa.
to that would be no. What happened?
yeah, they have like a whole. They mentioned multiple weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
The-
see it.
the-
Yeah.
The Tear Blaster, Stormslinger, Ice Rail, and Forge Fire. If
Yeah.
they return.
Yeah,
soon.
those are the Frozen Wilds weapons apart from the Tear Blaster, which was from the Hunting Lodge early on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Haven't
that-
found them yet, so I don't think so. But
Yeah.
I think that's kind of interesting that they are not there. But they were like a lot of fun in the Frozen Wilds.
Yeah.
But like I said, they weren't really powerful, so I ended up not really using them. But the Tear Blaster was awesome though. But the Tear works kind of different in this game.
Yeah.
Using regular arrows works actually way better this time around. At least, usually I would always go for the Tear arrows from the Sharpshot bow. But now they're more a risk-reward thing, where if you really hit them, they explode, and you have a way higher chance that the part actually gets removed, or you just need way less ammo. While you can also now just use regular hunter bow arrows and shoot at machine parts. It kind of feels strange because you're just using it as sort of a weak point hit, but because the Tear is way better, it feels on these weapons, especially your upgraded hunter bow at the start, which is very easily upgradable. You can like shoot a charger horn and it immediately breaks. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, Tear changed. I would love it if the Tear Blaster came back though, or maybe like I would say we did a lot in the game, but there are still some loose ends. So maybe there is something that we missed. But I don't think the Frozen Wilds weapons are back though.
Okay, so on to the next question then. From Amaya Nocturna asking, I wanted to know what you thought about the haptic feedback on a controller for the game on the PS5, if there is any.
It's great.
It's great.
It's great.
I loved it. I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoyed both the haptics and the adaptive triggers. Really added to the immersion I felt, which
Yep.
is just I just love the PS5 controller. But
I do
Horizon
have
really
to say
shows
though,
why.
I do have to say though that it's not on the same level as Returnal or Ratchet. I think
Yeah.
the Horizon haptic feedback is really good because it's not in your way, and that's what we see with a lot of third-party games where I don't think they have enough resources to spend or knowledge maybe to work with the controller because it's just one of the many platforms they ship on. So with first-party studios, and hey, Mark Cerny was in the special thanks as well, so maybe he helped obviously with that a bit as well. But yeah, I think it's great, but I don't know if it's because these are PS5 exclusive, because now that I think about it, Returnal and Ratchet are both PS5
We're both
exclusives.
PS5 exclusives.
So maybe
yeah.
you can have more, I don't know, or maybe they spend more resource on it because it's the only way you can play the game. I don't know, but
I think the main difference is that like Returnal, for instance, like I didn't play as much of Ratchet, but Returnal actually bound gameplay features to something like the adaptive triggers, where you could alt fire if you pressed past a certain point of pressure, which of course you can't really do in because I feel like that would have been something really cool for like overdraw, where you
Yeah.
can just draw the bow and then after you click it past a certain point, you will trigger the overdraw. But you can't do that because that means that everyone who's playing it with a PS4 controller can't use that feature.
No.
they can,
I
but then
think-
it would feel more like it did here. But and you can of course turn these features off, so it might still be. But yeah, I agree. It's like we're focusing on this huge feature because I can imagine that it takes a lot of resources to get that right. But like maybe 50% or even more will not even experience that, so that might not be maybe worth it. But it's more
Yeah.
like it's like Oh yeah, there were DualSense features. I really, because I also played remote play with a PS4 controller. I'm crazy like that. I wanted to try that out.
You did
and it
what?
works fine.
You did what?
It works fine. Works
Hey,
fine.
you didn't
But
tell
I
me?
did not have the DualSense features then, of course, and I was totally missing it. So it's really something when it's not there, you're like, okay, huh? Something is missing. But when you're playing, it helps you, to immerse you a bit more. But I wouldn't say with Ratchet, I was really like, whoa, this is amazing. I have to give it to someone next to me. Hey, feel this. And I don't think that's the case here.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree. But like I said, it does really it just adds to the immersion. And sure, they maybe could have done more with it specifically if it was designed as like a fully next gen title.
Yeah.
But just like the first time you're firing a bow in this game with the controller in your hands, to me felt so much better than taking
I think
a shot in Zero
the
Dawn.
audio overall is like where it is,
It's also
I
very
think,
much
on another level versus other, because even if you're like playing with the audio turned off for some reason, you will still hear a lot through the controller, and it actually adds on to the sound you would normally hear. And I'm playing with the Pulse headset, the 3D audio, and I heard some like people say, and I'm not sure how you guys played it in terms of audio, but they would be, for example, they had a critique where, because Aloy, like we already said, talks a lot, and if you maybe are too far from the TV, it might be like, right? It might be like you hear her talk, but you don't know what she's really talking about, or and with the 3D audio, when you're like have a headset on, I do think that is way better. But also with the animals we talked about, you really hear them. Hey, there's a boar nearby. I turn around, and otherwise I would have missed it. But because I'm like hearing it with a headphone and with the 3D audio, you get way more immersed, and just the machine sound and the music, like it's insane. And even I never have that, Dennis, but when I'm like watching your B-roll, it seems that some machines have like their own track or something. I still really have to figure out how that works, but I
Like
really
a
love.
theme? Oh, that's so cool. I
am not
yeah.
sure if that's. I'm not sure if that's the case, but it was like, because when I was like watching your footage against, I think it was the Shell Snapper, and it seemed to be the music, or the Tide Ripper actually.
The Tide Ripper,
Yeah,
yes.
I think the Tide Ripper, and it is the music you hear during that Game Awards trailer, right?
Yeah.
Super
Now that you
awesome.
mention it,
If this is true, it's like an instant 10 out of 10 for me. I love it so much when games do that. No, seriously, I think people underestimate how much feeling and emotion music can evoke when it's paired with something visual. So like every time you encounter a Tide Ripper, you hear that music. So at some point, it's almost like a Pavlovian response. The next time you hear that music, you're gonna think, "Oh, awesome, Tide Ripper." And I feel like games are doing that too little. So I'm gonna keep an ear out for this now, because that's amazing. I
was like normally when I'm like watching your B-roll, I don't really mind it or something. But now I was like, oh wow, that's that music from the. And then I was like, oh yeah, Dennis is playing. I have to look at that as well.
You're saying my B-roll is boring.
No, it was good, but it elevated it even to the next level. So
maybe I should
Awesome.
ask the audio, the one who goes over the audio. I think it's
I'm
Lucas,
curious about it.
I think it's Lucas van Tol, if he's watching. Please. But yeah, I think that's
Tell us
awesome.
if it's true, and if it's true,
Yeah,
you're amazing.
like, oh,
if it's
could
not
you-
true, you're amazing too.
Yeah.
Soundtrack is awesome. Like, just whether or not this is true. the
I've
soundtrack
been
is
going
great.
through. I'm like kind of a crazy person, but we have been living this game for the next last few weeks. But I'm like, like going through. I'm like really into it.
Yeah.
Okay, next
Aw.
question.
Let's do another one from Max Relax from Discord, asking how do face paints work? Because that's actually an interesting, neat little feature that I kind of found out about a little bit late, but I think you were the first to discover it, Joyce.
Yeah, so you have it's actually a separate vendor, kind of like if you go into a settlement, there's a guy or a gal, or every gender over there. You can actually put the face paint like with paying a bit of metal shards and put it on your face. You can choose from a variety of face paints to put on, from Nora, from Tenagt, from like every there are a lot of like even Which one do we have more that we can spoil?
But
There-
you
there
can just
are
go to a
some-
vendor in
Yeah.
an area and
Yeah.
put it
Yeah,
on,
that's
right?
basically yeah. Let's keep it at that to keep the
Yeah.
spoilers away. So that's actually how it works, and I think there are like a couple around. And it's not, and you can switch every time. Like you can, I mean, it does. You have to pay another, like I think it's 25 shards or something. It's not.
Yeah, it's like a very small amount, and you also unlock more from like quests. You actually see it in the
Yes.
quest rewards as well, but you do unlock more by just playing the game.
And you can use
so
the
that's really
photo
cool
mode.
too. Yep, which is also awesome.
Yay.
Yep. So
Um,
that's how that works.
There's that, and then the final question we have from Discord is: are there a lot of armor sets, and do these armor sets provide bonuses?
Yes.
There are a lot of armor sets.
Both.
actually.
Yes.
Yeah, yes to both of those. The armor system is actually we kind of already mentioned it when we were talking about upgrading stuff, but the armor system is actually really cool, where you not only have like each armor has its own specific resistances, which I'd argue matter even more now because there are more elements to worry about. There are some new elements in there as well that are really cool. But you can upgrade them, and then they will also start adding to your skills. And like you mentioned, it seems that we're not entirely sure about it, but at least for some of them, it seems that if you use an armor to over-level a skill, you will actually reap more benefits. Whereas normally, if you put like too many skill points in one skill, you get what they call diminishing returns. Here, it seems to be the opposite. So really, an armor set is truly an extension of your playstyle because it can make the skills that you are using even stronger because it buffs those skills.
Yeah.
There are a lot of them, and they do provide some very significant bonuses that we're gonna try and do.
Yeah,
some really cool
it's kind of
things with.
linked to the playstyles that you also see in the
Yeah.
skill menu. So you have like a trapper armor, a melee armor, a hunter armor, a machine
There are-
armor.
There are actually mixed ones as well, if I remember correctly, but there are very few of them. But that kind
okay.
of do a little bit of everything. But yeah, most of them, like you say, are linked to one of the skill trees.
It's way cooler than 50 extra fire resistance or 50 extra, and then you're like, yeah, but that machine, does it fire? And I just like the look. I do wish now that they add way more stats, like I said in my review as well, that transmog would be amazing. It was not in Ghost, right? They did add the loadout system, but I think transmog wasn't
loadout, but
there.
No, you're right. They
No.
didn't have transmog.
But
You
they did have the
uh,
hats, which were like only
Yeah.
cosmetic, so you could
Yeah.
like still, and there were like colors for each armor, so you could like still tweak it a bit. But
Yeah, you also have headgear in, or well, like with the outfit comes a headpiece in Horizon Forbidden West. You can turn that off if you don't like that.
Yeah,
There's
someone
there's-
actually asked that as well.
okay.
Classic Nova Productions on YouTube. So consider your question answered because yes, the
Yep.
setting in the menu to take those off is in the game.
You can just turn it off.
Classic Nova, Classic Nova has been here for a really long time, and Tom.
I was gonna say I recognize that name. Thank you for your
awesome.
question.
Rear Reaper had a donation. Is this like Mass Effect with the story continuation? No, it's like
No.
it does like continue 6 months after the final mission, but it's not like it reads your save or like they're not like impactful choices. It's like there's one ending, and it's not like oh you don't meet this character if you did not meet him or her during Horizon Zero Dawn. No. They kind of expect you to know a lot and know all these characters, so that when you see Petra, who we of course saw in pre-launch material, that you're kind of like, oh yeah, Petra, I did that one side mission 30 minutes long in Zero Dawn. It's cool that they flesh those characters out. But to be fair, and I still need to do more side missions though, because we kind of had like a dock where we did all the side missions, so we would not. Sometimes we still would do, of course, the same one, but to kind of like get more done in the same amount of time. But I've just seen a few characters back though, so maybe I still need to do more side missions to see more familiar faces. But I think overall the main cast that we of course like that you already saw in the story trailer, I think those are the highlights. The
Aaron, Sparl.
Yeah, we of course
with
know them, but
Beard.
also the new cast. They are the real highlight,
Yeah.
and like Mass Effect, you have a lot of like you can spend a lot of time with them, like talking about them, how did they feel the recent story moments, and
That's actually good.
yeah, what did they do? What did they do
they're-
before this?
Yeah.
I really like that part, but I was really like, I want to continue playing, but there's so much more I can still ask.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go back at one point just because I didn't do any of that. I was like, it's cool that you're having a conversation. I'm gonna go out there and save the world. Bye.
Yeah.
Oh, the speedrun guy.
definitely, yeah. It was a necessary sacrifice and one I'm very happy I made. But I'm definitely gonna go back and just take my time and listen to all the conversations because I did some of the for lack of better terms, companion quests. It's not what they are, but you do get some like a bit more fleshed out side quests
Yeah.
with those characters.
That's true.
And I like all of them a lot. Like they're all they all have their own interesting quirks and stories, and I can't wait to find out more about them. Which is weird to say after completing the story, but then again, that just shows how much extra like depth there is to those backstories. That like if you're not interested, you can just skip past that. But if you want to, it is there, and you can like talk with these people. And actually get to know them. And so far, I found them to be really cool and interesting characters. So I'm going back for that at one point.
Yeah, I think that's totally recommended. Especially at one point, I did make choices because I was like, okay, I can't hear everyone. I mean, I can, but that would take me like a few hours. So I'm gonna pick you, and I'm gonna pick you, and then maybe in like hopefully New Game Plus, we have a question about that. It's not in the game yet, from Brandon from YouTube. But that would be like a perfect time to experience those things. And there are, as I said in the review as well, there are some details where if you do certain things before a certain point, then you will see different things happen, or the world will react in other ways, and that's really cool. It really feels that everything you do actually impacts this world, as also kind of makes sense for the story. So that's super awesome. Okay, I feel like a random side quest will enjoy these long conversations yet, Tom, for sure. And he already did if you like, I did like before I started playing a podcast with random side quests. Totally check him out on YouTube as well. He does like a lot of lore things. He has like the best, like that's also like they really expect you to know a lot of the lore going in. So you still have like the best preparation if you want to do something to kind of go into this game as best as possible. I would watch his like complete history. It's like an hour and a half. There are like 3 layers, so maybe you can like watch 30 minutes and then 30 minutes, like kind of space it out, because otherwise it's a long sit. But that really gives it really, like, I of course knew a lot of those things, but still there are so many things going on in this lore, like before Aloy was even like created, of course. When Aloy like grows up, what happens in that point, and then of course when you actually start playing, what happens at that point. So there's so many things, and they do expect you to know quite a lot. They have some things in place where to kind of explain it to you, but I would recommend to do some extra research if you can. And random side quest already said I'm gonna do my first playthrough. I'm gonna take my time, so I don't think we will see him for another 2 weeks.
See ya.
At the very least.
Risa, there are Thunderjaws, yes.
Yes.
A lot of the machines from Zero Dawn are back. I did see Sawtooth. Ravagers are back. I'm not sure about Sawtooth. I don't think they are back.
I don't know.
And I don't want to like talk about all the machines that are back, but those were, I think, already confirmed. Like you could see a Thunderjaw during the state of play, sort of that 5-hour long sort of countdown, right? Which skill would you say is the most useful that we should get ASAP? Andy, keep an eye on the channel. We will have that question.
We're working on them. We're working on the videos.
And I think we're gonna continue with that now. So I think. I think unless there are some more questions, Reset's very happy because the Thunderjaw challenge can continue with that. But I think we mostly got everything right.
Risa, there's actually a challenge mode in the arena and Dennis and Jor are trying very hard their best to get the best time in that.
Yeah, but it's gonna be fun during streams.
Yours, I'm not. I'm just doing it, and I look at my score on the leaderboard, and I'm like, oh well, here we go.
Jor comes like, excuse me.
That leaderboard is going to.
Yeah, that leaderboard is gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be crazy. I'm really curious, and I'm kind of happy that there are. On one hand, I wish it would be like kind of reward your loadout as well. Although that you can still share your times, so that would be just like maybe on a forum or on Reddit or something. But like for the leaderboards, you really get the same armor or weapon. So it's not like. I mean, I can imagine that if it eventually comes to PC, that's gonna be where the cheaters come to life. But maybe with a set loadout, they cannot not cheat that. But yeah, it will be interesting to see how fast people can do these challenges. And I hope, like we haven't heard anything, of course, about any post-launch things or something. But the arena would, of course, be perfect for that. Just add more challenges.
Sure. Like a weekly challenge or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that they do stuff like that. And I think the game, I think that's... We even Ghost had quite a lot of post-launch stuff. Not a lot, but it did have some big updates, especially with Legends, of course. So maybe that's like the new thing going forward, because that's like the previous big Sony game, right? Yeah, like it. So I hope that we can see something similar for this game. Okay. Yeah, I see Booty still some new spears. And are they upgradable? No, you just have one spear. At least I found only one, but I played a lot, so I think there's only one.
Same.
Only one.
So yeah, I hope that answered your questions. Of course, if you want a more concise review, then totally check out the review we did that I posted on embargo date, so yesterday. And yeah, we will from now on, prepare a lot of tips and tricks, all spoiler free, of course, because like I said on Twitter as well, it's the best to go in without knowing a lot, because then you will be surprised, and that's really the best way to experience the game. And I think even though we talked for quite a long time, we only really I don't think we spoiled anything. So I think we did a great job.
There are so many things still left to see,
and that's also I think the most exciting things, right? The most exciting things are the things we did not talk about. So hey, if you already are hyped.
It's only gonna get better.
Yeah, I think so as well. Any final things you want to say, Joyce, before we leave?
I have to jump back in. No, I really I like that's the fun part about this game. You really like after work, you're like, I want to jump back in, and I want to see this, and I want to see that, and it's such, and also like the beautiful areas. Just everything is nice. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to everyone who pre-ordered it, who's gonna buy it, on launch day. Have fun and enjoy, and if you need some help, watch our videos that are coming soon.
Yeah, and Risa shared the review there on YouTube as well.
Woo,
Thanks
thank
for that. Thank you. And Dennis, you anything?
I think the best closing statement I can give for a review discussion is you guys don't even know how excited I am to be making content on this game. I legitimately think it's that good. I'm so hyped for the things we're already working on, the things that we're gonna be working on. And yeah, like you also already said, there's still so much stuff we haven't talked about that's probably even more amazing than the stuff we did talk about. So
yeah,
if you have the chance to experience it without spoiling it for yourself, do that.
Yes.
But it has my recommendation, for sure. This is a no-brainer. If you're wondering, should I try this game? Yes, the answer is absolutely yes.
Yeah, you should totally do it.
Do it.
Yeah, JorRaptor goes back to his roots, but he's not alone anymore.
Yeah.
He dragged me down with him. Or
yes.
Depends on how
my evil plan after 5 years, finally.
I just took a vine and be like, you want some help, buddy?
Yeah. So yeah, as I said in the review as well, can't wait for you to play it. Let us share your thoughts, of course. And we have a ton of guides, spoiler-free tips and tricks to get cool weapons early on, tips for how to use weapons, the best skills, all that sort of stuff. So look forward to that. That will be before launch still. So that's going to be great. And thanks everyone for watching, for all the questions you send in. for the mods, of course, in the chat as well, for
Thank
all the
you.
support, the
Walt.
donations, becoming a member. It really, really helps us out, and we will see you soon. I will also be streaming the game, by the way, if we're able to, so that would be fun. But it will be an early save, so should not spoil too much. Okay, thanks for watching. Goodbye.